Yes, please. A very good evening. And a very good evening to online students too. Please sit with a smile on the face, no? It doesn't cost anything. Yes, now this being our first interaction, so I'm supposed to introduce myself. My name is S.K. Manocha. And I'll be there with you for physical geography section for your prelims and main examination. And there's nothing much to tell about the introduction, except the fact that this is with a lot of experience with the same institute. I have spent 32 years for the same purpose with the same institute. Means, in a nutshell, no promotion, no change in life. The only change has been that over the number of years, the content I have been teaching has reduced considerably. No, with the increase in batches, there is more and more of specialization. Okay. Now I hope you understand that I'll not seek your introduction. Okay, seeing the numbers. In fact, what I do is in my first interaction, I seek introduction from students in a very different way. And that is, give your introduction to the world by your selection the list. So in the very first lecture with me, make a pledge to yourself that you'll do all you can and you'll do all the best you can to get your name in the next year's examination list. Yes, you make a promise? Yes. Fine, good. And the same goes for online students too. Okay? Remember, I'm physically with them, but heart-to-heart connection is with the online students only. This is just mere physical presence, I tell you. Even if I do not look towards you, please remember frequency is already matched. Okay. Now, before we start with the subject, since it's our first lecture, I'll share with you 4 or 5 pieces of advice for your examination purpose. I'll be very brief because these kind of things will keep coming, no? Means whenever we'll meet, I'll be there with you for 21 lectures. So there would be a lot of time for such kind of tips and the pieces of advice as such. So I'll be very brief. The first advice I give you is that better than any institute of India or better than any teacher of India for this examination, your guideline will come from the syllabus copy of UPSC and the previous year's question papers. So my suggestion to you is get familiar as much as possible with the syllabus of prelims and mains, both for GS and optional, and get familiar with the question papers. Otherwise, you'll be wasting your time asking others what is to be read in the newspaper and what is to read from the books and all that. Be your own judge. And if you know the syllabus and if you are familiar with the question papers, you'll have more efficient studies in this next 1.5 years time. So keep a hard copy of these 2 in your bag always and 1 hard copy on your table. And whenever you're free, just keep reading the content only. Even if you do not know anything about the content, but get familiar because this is going to help you. Remember, this is a litmus test for your examination. Teachers may speak lies, seniors may speak lies, the toppers certainly speak lies, right? You'll discover them. But this syllabus will not speak lie, yes or no? And the previous year's question papers will also not speak lie. So please rely on them more than any teacher, any institute. Now this might sound very strange that I'm standing on the platform of one of the most reputed institutes of India, but still I speak more in favor of these 2. Okay. The second suggestion, that UPSC has compartmentalized this examination in 3 stages: the prelims, mains, and interview. My suggestion to you is that you please do not compartmentalize your preparation for this examination. If you do so, you'll find you take minimum 3 years, 3 attempts to clear this exam, or you may not clear the exam. So please go for an integrated approach. Remember, there is no gain if you clear next year's prelims and you are not prepared for, means the whole advantage goes waste. No? So tell yourself that I'm writing prelims next year to write, means, and then to appear for the interview. Rather, I would suggest you that even if the institute has named this course as prelim cum mains, you go the other way around. Make it main cum prelims. It means to the extent possible, cover major portion of mains before you write your prelims. This will give you two advantages. Number one, it will improve your chance to clear your preliminary examination. Remember, mains and interview are much easier than the first stage of the examination, that this is more uncertain. And the only way to make it good for you is that cover as much as possible. Go beyond the prelims syllabus, because that's not well defined. So cover as much of mains as possible. One, for the reason it improves your chances in the prelims, and second, when you clear your prelims, you are already prepared for mains. And the same way, get prepared for those kind of things which they need in your personality also. For example, many of the students who stay here for 3 years in Delhi may reach to their third attempt to the interview, and then they ask the teacher, like some teacher like me or someone else, that what do I need to fill in my hobbies? Hobbies section means they will come to us in the staff room and utter 2 words, sir, hobbies. I joke with them, are you asking my hobbies? I know what they are asking me, but they just say hobbies. How can I tell someone else hobby? No, hobby is something which is of interest to you when you are having free time. So please choose your hobbies if you do not have any. Everyone does, means certainly would be having your hobbies. No, if by chance you do not have any hobby, or you're not so clear about it, select now and get more and more of information on those hobbies, so that you are not having those kind of weaknesses, that you really are not aware what exactly you have to speak there in the interview. Okay, so go for getting familiar with the syllabus, and second, do not compartmentalize your preparation. Many of you may say that, sir, I'll not do that, but I tell you, if you do not manage the syllabus well now, within 4 or 5 months, you will find yourself in such a poor shape that you will be only good for prelims of next year. This will happen so naturally that you will not get to know about it. So be wise, learn from others' mistakes, no? If you learn from your own mistakes, you're not that wise, no? Wisdom lies in learning from others. Remember, human life is too short to make all mistakes oneself. So we have seen seniors here who have spent number of years only for the reason they could not handle this exam in an integrated fashion. We have seen best of the students of the best of the institutes of India wasting 3 or 4 attempts only for this reason. So please go for an integrated plan. My third suggestion is something what our director would have highlighted taught in the first lecture, and that is about the reading of newspapers. Has it been done? Now, I have been a student of statistics also along with geography. So I always love to translate everything I know into numbers, because you know statistics is all about making numbers speak to us. So I'll just quantify the importance of newspaper. And I would say, and I say it with a lot of experience and honesty, that about 40 to 50% of your syllabus requirement would alone be met from newspaper reading. And I say it for entire examination, all the 3 stages, that most of the questions will come from newspaper, and most of the content of their answers will come from newspaper. Half of your examination is prepared if you are thorough with the last 1 year's newspaper reading. Remember, what is newspaper? If I was to define newspaper, I'll say newspaper is something with which or through which nation talks to itself. So UPS is interested asking what India as a nation has been talking to itself in the last 1 year. So you need to know that from the newspaper that what all has been important in this country and what kind of answers are expected. That also you'll get to know from the content of the newspaper, from the articles written by the experts in the different fields. So please make newspaper reading as the core part of your strategy for success in this examination. Remember, you'll be struggling with the reading of newspaper. If some students have started doing it, you must be struggling, no? Struggling in the sense that you might be taking 3 hours to read it, 4 hours to read it. The only suggestion I'll give is, if you are struggling reading newspaper, keep struggling. Though I should not quote a person here, but he's not supposed to be so good for India. Winston Churchill, he used to say, if you are going through hell, keep going. Because then only you'll get out of it, no? So same way, in this examination, the only way out is that keep struggling. Everyone would struggle who is a sincere candidate. And those who will keep their efforts persistent, they will get their name in the final list. So, do newspaper reading yourself. Now there's a problem with the... So, make this as the core part of your strategy. Even if it takes 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours, do remember that I have given the quantification. You'll get half of your requirements for the examination from newspaper reading. Now, there is one caution here. When you stay here in Delhi for a few months or 1 year or more than that, you'll come across many institutes around who will offer you something very attractive. They will have advertisements saying that don't waste your time reading newspaper. Come to us 3 days a week, 3 hours each time, and we'll give you the gist of 6 newspapers of India. Means they'll say, you are struggling reading 1 newspaper, we'll give the gist of 6 newspapers, only 9 hours of the week. I would only say, do remember there's a Hindi saying, Bina mare swarg nahi prapt hoga. Yes or no? And I add in that, marna bhi khud ko hi hai. Yes or no? Remember, you can't outsource reading newspaper, no? So, marna khud ko hai, tabhi swarg pahunchenge. Swarg is UPSC, final list, or Masuri. Swarg, no? Remember, difficult roads. So please do not try to outsource this. Because remember, attending classes on newspaper can give you some factual content for some questions in the prelims, but they can't give you answer for essay paper, answer for questions on governance, answers for ethics paper, answers for social issues. Almost everything will come from newspaper, I tell you. Questions will come from newspaper and the answers, content will also come. But do remember, I'm saying 50%. I have to keep the importance of the classes also, no? Otherwise, they will push me out. So half we will play the role in terms of teaching the subjects which you would have done otherwise in school. Remember, you are all here only for 2 reasons, or one of the 2 reasons. Schools are not good in India. And wherever schools were good, you are not good. So I always tell my colleagues in the staff room, we have so many batches, so many students, year after year, only for one of the 2 reasons. So nothing great would be done in these classes. We'll revise all your school knowledge and we'll take it to the graduation level. And we'll give a final touch in terms of little of post-graduation. But base would be from school days, okay? So please make this as the core part of your strategy. Now we come to the 4th point. Now see, when you go to social media platforms like YouTube and all that, you would come across many sources where they say this examination is the toughest of India and one of the toughest of the world. And how do they justify? All of them justify this tough nature of the examination through only one way, and that is through number of candidates who take this examination. But I give you the understanding from my 32 years of experience with the public exams of India. Remember, don't go with these numbers who take this examination, because with lot of honesty I can say my first hand experience tells me that minimum 75% of this number is merely a crowd who is not at all a competition to you if you are a sincere candidate for the examination. So you need to choose, are you a part of this crowd or that 25% who is going to offer competition to each other? Why do I say this is a crowd? Because most of the students, means 75%, they will just talk about this examination for a few years in their stay in Delhi and they will go back. They will make attending classes a ritual. They will be happy with this only. They will be talking about this examination with their friends on the tea stalls. They will talk about this in the hostels. And after 2, 3, 4 years, they will just go back. It means 75% crowd would get engaged in this examination, but there is no serious effort. So my advice is, follow a Chinese proverb. You know, we Indians hate Chinese, means we are supposed to hate. But let me tell you, every culture has its assets and liabilities. We should learn from others' assets and we should try to reduce our liabilities. And Chinese are one of the most practical people on this earth. And in China, there is a proverb, talk does not cook rice. Baaton se chawal nahi bante. And we Indians are trying to do that only. You must have seen people around us, around you in every walk of life, that we talk about things, our goals, our dreams, but we do not do much to reach to those goals. This is what I'm saying. Remember, I'm proud to be an Indian. Don't raise any doubt to my nationalism and all that. But as I said, as student of social science, must understand that we have some assets and we have liabilities. So please take my suggestion today that tell yourself that I'll not talk about this examination, I'll work for this examination. Remember, this examination needs you to learn to be alone in life rather than be on the tea stalls with the others. Those who learn to be alone, they will grow stronger in personality. By alone, I mean be on the table for hours together and keep covering the syllabus. Remember, those students who are above average in their school and college and they complete 75% of the syllabus of UPSC, the year they complete it, they will have a very good chance to get their name in the list. So my point is that this examination is not that tough as it is made to appear. It is tough, but not that tough, because I've already reduced your competition to only 25%. I mean it. I tell you, I have seen it. I've felt it. I've experienced it. Means I have been a part of this area's society for almost the entire life. My school was also here in this area. Means I've lived in this radius of 2 kilometers for last, means I'll not tell you the number of years. So I've seen students from very close quarters. And I've told you that 32 years with the same institute. Certainly the first-hand experience of such batches, no? And see the greatness of this batch. In one room we have India. Means think of it. Am I right? There cannot be a better sample of India. Young India, youth India, no? Now, so it is not that tough, but yes, it is tough. And there's only one challenge in this examination, I tell my students. The only one challenge in this exam is the size of this examination. What kills you in this exam is size. It's very huge. That's why I said, when you complete the 3/4 of this syllabus, that year you will have a good chance to get your name. It means most of you will struggle completing the syllabus, sometimes even in the third attempt also. Because naturally what is going to happen is that your focus will always remain on prelims. So take this point very seriously, that Before size kills you, you must kill the size. That is the strategy of this examination. That is why I said be alone and sit on the table for hours together rather than talking about this examination to seniors or toppers and all that, teachers. No need. You're attending the class, it's sufficient. Whatever teacher has to deliver, he'll do the best in 2.5 hours of lecture. Yes or no? Don't waste your time looking for teacher in personal, like you are asking some particular, like some doubts may be there sometime, but not. When you are familiar with the syllabus and the previous year's question papers, you will not have much of the reasons to meet the teachers. So how would you kill the size of the examination? First, I would suggest you that make Henry Ford your hero. Ford, you know, Ford gave us automobile industry. He gave us assembly line production. He gave us many new things of life. And he used to say, I follow him for one reason. He used to say, nothing is particularly hard if you divide it into small parts. So yes, when you look at the whole syllabus of UPSC, it would give you a fair psychosis. But don't do that. See it in small parts and every day keep covering some parts of the syllabus. And you will find within 3 or 4 months, you will be in command of the syllabus. And if you are not very disciplined in coverage of the syllabus will dominate you after 3 months. And then you will find that you only think of prelims next year. You have no thought about the main or the interview. So to kill the size before the size kills you, Ford must be your hero for this examination. That every day cover something of the syllabus in very concrete way. And no need to compete with anyone in life. Compete with your own self. That tell yourself that I'll go to bed today with satisfaction. And when I get up tomorrow morning, the next morning, I should have something new to do. My benchmark should be little higher. So like Japanese have worked with one principle in life. Japanese as a nation have gone for not only just improvement, they have gone for continuous improvement. They said improvement alone will not take us anywhere. The kind of society we have, the shattered economy after the war, and the kind of problems they have given by nature. So they understood long back that improvement alone is not our way out. We have to keep on improving all the time. And that is why even today, Western people are having a fear psychosis about Japanese, about their technologies and all that, about their disciplined behavior in life. So make Ford your hero. And second thing to kill the size is make synoptic notes for your syllabus topics. Means if you have read 10 pages of a topic from a good book, reduce it to 1 page. And who can do that? Only when you have conceptual clarity. So remember, every exam has taught us one thing, that revision is important. And you can't revise such a huge syllabus unless until you have made synoptic notes. So please keep reducing the size of this examination in terms of final notes. And remember, this exam is easy. I have told you that 75% is merely a crowd. The other way to look at this is that this exam is easier than what it is perceived to be. You all know that the first 100 ranks in this examination belong to those students who have final score somewhere ranging between 50 to 55%. Am I right or not? With 55%, you may have one amongst the top 20 ranks. Tell me, any school or college exam where with this score you are praised for anything in life. With this score we used to sit in the back benches. And with this score, we had to attend every parent-teacher meeting. And some of us know that we had to change our father or mother sometime. Some of us know this also, no? And see, the grace of UPSC gives you the top services of the country with this poor score. Don't let this opportunity go. And in that time of the society, technology, when every information of the world is in your laptop, no? Exam has become easier, I tell you. So 20, 30 years back, people had to look for a book for a college presentation. For days, we were not getting a book which was required for a particular presentation topic. And today, sit on the table, good internet, laptop, and you do wonders. The only thing is you have to sit on the table. You don't have to talk about this examination, you have to work for the examination. Don't plan your work, work the plan the way Japanese do it. We Indians are good in planning the work. Again, I'm proud to be an Indian. So kill this size, right? This is, I tell you, some of you will understand it after 2 or 3 years wastage. That what killed you was only size. Now, these are the 4 pieces of advice which I wanted to share with you, but I'll go for one more. The 5th one I'm keeping separate because now I'll encroach your personal sphere and some of you will not like it. But still, I'm not able to stop myself. Means every year I think I'll not do that, but I do it. Means the 5th suggestion which I'll give you, I should not be giving because it's very personal to you. But I'll go for it. I'll be very brief. Those who mind about it, they may not follow. See, the kind of age you belong to. Don't think if you were not to appear for this examination, this is the best age for choosing the right companion for your life. Yes, please. Be honest. Means why are you taking so much of time? Some are the facts of life, you have to agree with that. So this is the age we are looking for companionship, no? So what I have seen in last 32 years in this area is that some very good students, when they come to Delhi, they get engaged in this companionship. And you know, when you are engaged in these kind of things, then you cannot have focused approach for this examination. And then you waste your years. And many of these students who have wasted their number of years, they used to come to us, the teachers in our staff room, and they used to ask for solution when it was too late. So over the years, I thought, why should I not do a job? Means being an elder for you, because you are away from your elders of the family. But do not misunderstand, not very old. Means I'm elder than you only, that is the only point here. 6, 7 years. See, experience came only for the reason I started teaching very early. So point is that being elder, I thought that I should give one piece of advice to my students so that they do not go for wasting their prime years of life and they should not get away from the goal they have come for. So I give this suggestion in one statement so that I don't need to speak much on this personal sphere of yours. Let's see whether you understand my suggestion or not. I put it in one slogan and I say, always remember, your selection after selection will be a better selection. Not understood? Yes, now understood. It took a few seconds, no? Because there are some tube lights also. No, don't. See, I can, as a teacher, I can always joke, okay? I love everyone in the class. All are equally good to me. So even if I give a lighter statement, don't mind about it, okay? So I repeat, those who didn't understand, that my suggestion is that your selection after selection will always be a better selection. So my suggestion, don't make a wrong commitment now. Choose from a wider list later on. Masuri, the list will come. People will come. And it would be for both the genders, no gender bias. It is equally good for both the genders. Later you'll repent, I tell you. So don't make a wrong commitment, because later you'll have selection would be, the choices would be much better. And second, you will not reach to your goal if you get engaged in this companionship. Though I know even after this suggestion, I'll find, since I live in the same area, so I see everything, that companionship is going on strong. But let me do good to a few, if not all. Okay. Now, okay, I stop here because some students have started doubting that does he know geography or not. So let's come to geography. Okay. Now see, before we come to geography, one more regular practice I have to discuss. Whenever I meet a class for a lecture, I share a few thoughts for the day. Thoughts means I share some quotes, some proverbs, and there are 2 or 3 purposes for it. One purpose is that this examination needs continuous doses of motivation. And since you are away from your people at home, so to keep you motivated for this examination, whenever I meet my students, I'll share a few thoughts for the same purpose. Second purpose is that there is a very important paper called essay. And essay has 3 important parts: the introduction, the body, and conclusion. And you all know from your school and college days, a good introduction may need a good thought, quote, or proverb. Similarly, a good conclusion can be there with a particular quote or proverb. And for body, I may get new ideas through those very quotes and proverbs. So I wish that each one of you should inculcate a hobby to collect more and more of such thoughts which are good for essay writing and even on paper on ethics and social issues. And third reason for giving these thoughts is that the human life is too short. So we should get enriched in our personality from the knowledge shared by great people across the different cultures of the world. Remember, a statement by someone is the gist of his or her experience of the entire life. So we should get benefited from such statements for our personality development. So with all these purposes, I share a few thoughts whenever I come for the lecture. And since we can't remember large number of thoughts for the examination purpose with the source also, so I make a rule that we'll only write the thoughts, the proverbs, the quotes, will not write who gave that, because remembering with the person becomes difficult. We can always write in the examination, someone has rightly said, no, we can always use it on someone or something else. So we'll not write the source, but we'll write the content itself, which is more important. So let's do this routine practice first for the lecture. And since it's our first interaction, so I'll keep the thoughts very simple, and later I'll keep improving or raising the level in terms of philosophical content. So please write a few thoughts for the day. While we are postponing, life speeds by. Tell me, is this understood? And has it happened to many of you or not? That in school or college you kept postponing something and you lost some good opportunities which your friends could avail or your cousins could avail. And remember, in this exam, if you keep postponing the things for next 2 or 3 months, as I told you, your focus will only come to prelims for next year. And that is no good. Ambition is a path to success. Now see, each one of you has the ambition, and that is what has brought you to Delhi. But is ambition alone sufficient? No. So second statement is also important here. Persistence is a vehicle you arrive in. So it means ambition is going to provide you the path, and persistent efforts will provide you the vehicle to reach to the goal. Then the next 2 I'll give you for my subject of geography. and ecology. Nature nurtures us, we must nurture nature. Now, the next one would be good for writing some essay relating to nature. Nature to be commanded must be obeyed. Now, tell me, is it understood? See, immediately after Industrial Revolution, mankind thought that with this technology we have got, we'll control nature to our advantage. But now we have understood our own presence on this planet is threatened. So now we have understood that the only way to manage nature is to follow the rules of nature. This is something which has come very late to us. So this kind of viewpoint would be important for good answers relating to these topics or in essay paper. Let us write one more. This would be good for social issues, some essays relating to social topics. Humans have brought into being the mountains of hate, rivers of inflexible traditions, and oceans of ignorance. And it is happening more in these days because of social media technologies. Is this understood or not? So it will be a good statement for things related to social issues. What kind of India we should have? This kind of an India, no? See how that entire diversity of India is present in this room. This is what India has been and should be always. Fine, now let's be closer to geography now. Is it over? Now let's start with some basics of geography today. See, I'll not name this student. A student has written a comment here that what if we write the similar quotes in essay? Means you are giving the quotes, if most of the students write the same, that would not be of use, no? You please write, I tell you. Many will not write. Many will not reach the examination, the main syllabus, no? The main examination. Don't be worried about, see, what kind of queries you have. See, I told you, I started by saying, I wish to inculcate a hobby in you, no? That you must collect more of these thoughts. I'm doing this initiation, that you get into this kind of approach. Okay? I would suggest this student without naming, that you just write the answers. Those who will complete their question papers in the mains examination, they will get a good selection, okay? So don't worry about the content. You write the content, no? Because this examination, I told you, is all about size. People will not reach the main examination. And second, people will not be able to cover much of the questions of the paper. And those who will write even sketchy answers, they will get the call for the interview. I'm not saying be prepared for sketchy answers, no. But what I'm saying is 52 to 55% score indicates what? That what was the quality of the answers, no? It was not that great. And if you wish to collect more thoughts, that would be great. But nothing to worry about the content, that it is like being used by others also. You use the way you need the content. Means remember, you will have your own context to use it. Okay, now let's start with geography. Now see, as I go for my lectures, regular lectures, there would be one common practice in my classes, that I keep using a phrase, be on the board. So when I say be on the board, when I say this, be on the board, it means I want you to focus on what I'm teaching on the board. Don't attempt to write anything at that time. Because as a teacher, I'm very structured. I say something on the board, then I'll make you write what is relevant there, okay? So don't worry about the notes. I know the importance of the notes. So we'll go in a structured way. If I say be on the board, so please be on the board, because if you are not on the board, I feel neglected. Yes or no? So, and you will not be able to understand what I'm teaching. So don't try to mix the two things, that you are listening to me as well as you are writing, then you will not get to know what exactly is being given. So now, since this is our first lecture, so it is more or less a sort of introduction and the foundations for the future classes. We'll wish to know what geography as a subject is. So see, be on the board now. This word geography is a combination of two things, geo plus graphin. And you know, geo means earth, and graphin means a discourse, a description about it. So it means literally, geography is about description of our planet Earth. This is a literal meaning, that it is about the description of our planet Earth. Now, you would have seen that most of the subjects we studied today, their foundations were laid by Greeks. Not for all, but most of the subjects, Greeks have been the pioneers. And the same happened for my subject of geography also. So it means in the notes we'll be writing that Greeks were the first geographers of the world. And amongst these Greeks, there was a scholar by the name Eratosthenes. Name is not important for you, but since he was like a father figure, so Eratosthenes in the 3rd century BC gave us the term geography, and let's see how did he define it. And you'll find today that he gave us a single sentence definition centuries back, and that definition is still working. He said, geography is the study of the earth as the home of man. So think of this simple sentence, and it is valid even today as the prime focus of the subject. He said, geography is study of the planet Earth as the home of man. And you know, the home of man lies on the earth's surface. You know, there are 3 parts of the earth, 3 layers, the crust, the mantle, and the core. So when we say that geography is the study of the earth as the home of man, it means this gives us the learning immediately that our primary focus is on the earth's surface, because here lies the home of man. But you will see in the classes of geography that we do also focus on the interior of the earth. See, our earth has 3 parts. This kind of sketch you would have seen: the atmosphere, the hydrosphere, and then you have lithosphere. Lithosphere means the solid part of the earth. I will be meeting you for atmosphere and hydrosphere. Means I'll be teaching you some basics of the science called climatology and the science of hydrosphere called oceanography. Mr. Rijwan, another geography teacher, would be dealing with geomorphology. Focus would be on lithosphere. And then there would be another teacher, Mr. Shiv Arpit. He'll be giving you more focus on economic geography and more about India's aspects and all that. Okay. And then there would be another teacher. She'll be teaching ecology and some parts of geography. So 4 of us would be there, the team, for your geography and ecology. You know, this common portion here is the biosphere, the life layer of the earth. So ecology teacher would focus more directly on biosphere, but will provide the elements for that biosphere to work. Okay. Now, when you will attend Mr. Rijwan's classes about the lithosphere, he is going to talk about some processes which happen from inside of the earth. They are called endogenetic processes. And those processes which operate from outside, they would be called as exogenetic. For example, volcanic eruptions would be giving us a feature on the earth's surface, no? So volcanism is what? An endogenic process. What you have seen in Turkey is also an endogenetic process, no? Means these endogenetic processes are trying to change the earth's surface by giving you something new on the earth's surface. And what is the attempt of exogenetic processes? The action of water, the action of wind, the action of glaciers. They are trying to remove that feature. So in a way, you will understand in the coming days with the other teacher that every landscape of the earth's surface is representing a fight between endo and exogenetic processes. In fact, the teacher will make you understand that every landscape of nature represents the stage of the eternal fight, ever going on fight between endo and exogenic processes. When you look at the Himalayas in India, they are the youngest, highest fold mountains of the world. It means in the case of Himalayas, the fight has just begun. But when you look at similar mountains called Aravallis, and you'll get to know from the subject that Aravallis once upon a time were higher than Himalayas. And today they are so reduced in height. And their features are different. So Aravallis represent what? That fight has been going on for a very long time. Means in the case of Aravallis, exogenetic processes have been able to show their might. Whereas in the case of Himalayas, the exogenetic processes are still not able to show their might because Himalayas are still very high. Their peaks are conical. Their valleys are very deep and V-shaped. And the rivers which flow in the Himalayas have great energy because rivers get energy from the position, the height, potential energy. And in Himalayas, potential energy is great because of the elevations. So this story of inside and outside fight is something like man proposes, God disposes, no? So endogenic forces are proposing something and exogenic forces are trying to dispose of that. So I basically wanted to say that geographers focus primarily on the Earth's surface. But yes, we'll also study inside of the Earth, at least to the extent it affects the Earth's surface, no? That since Earth's surface is being modified by inside forces or processes, we'll have to study inside story. But our primary focus remains on the Earth's surface. Okay. Now, let us write a sentence, like 1 or 2 sentences, then I'll take you further. So please write. Please write geography. They write the word geography and break into 2 parts. Geo plus graphene. Geo plus graphene. And put a hyphen and write. Literally, it means the description of the earth. Literally, it means the description of the earth. Now there are some online students writing that, sir, reference books bata dijiye. Now see, teacher knows the job. Please, you focus on what the teacher is doing. No, don't worry. Like, before I leave you, I'll give you what is required for today's lecture. Okay. Literally, it means the description of the earth, right? Next point. Greeks were the first geographers of the world. Greeks were the first geographers of the world. Put a hyphen, right? Eratosthenes coined the term geography. Eratosthenes coined the term geography and defined it as the study of the earth as the home of man. And defined it as the study of the earth as the home of man. Study of the earth as the home of man. Now, please come back. So far the understanding is the primary focus of the subject is on the, yes please, earth surface, because here lies our home. Now, let's come to another interesting observation. See here, whenever you come to attend the first lecture of any subject, you expect from the student who has come to teach you to tell you about the boundary of that subject in terms of the content it studies. Am I right or not? That you will be expecting from me today to tell about the boundary of the subject of geography in terms of its matter, the content we study. Because conventionally we have understood in school or college that every subject has a limited focus in terms of what it studies. So you'll be expecting from me to draw some boundary in terms of the content geographers study. But I'm going to surprise my class today by saying that geography is so special a subject, it is so unique a subject, that there is no boundary to my subject in terms of content we study. It means I make a very sweeping statement for the subject of geography that we geographers study almost everything of nature and human society, both on the earth surface. So my focus is where? On the surface. And the beauty of my subject is that we study nature as well as we study human beings. You will not find many subjects in our university system where they focus on both nature and man. See, we are focusing on the interactions between man and nature. It means you are focusing on man, we are focusing on nature as well as interaction. Because when he says it is the study of the earth as the home of man, home means nature's interactions to human societies or humans' interaction with nature, both are important. So perhaps you cannot think of any subject which deals with all the three things: the nature, the man, as well as interactions. And I'm going beyond. This is something what is written in every book, but I'm going one step further. And I'm saying that there is no boundary to my subject in terms of what we study in this subject. So I'm making a claim that we study in geography almost everything of nature and human society found on the earth surface. Now some students will feel perhaps the teacher is in a high today. He has taken something wrong. And that is why he is making such a claim. Because we have not heard of this. Geography was not made to be so special in our school or college. But let me tell you that I'm in my senses. Nothing wrong. See, on a working day, how can I afford to be on high? If it was an off day, I would have. But not on a working day when I have 2 or 3 classes, I have to stand here and speak sense. So I'm saying it with all responsibility. And I'm going to convince my class within a few minutes of the lecture that I'm 100% correct. So I say there is no content which delimits my subject. Now, some students some students may say, okay, sir, agreed with your sweeping statement because you have promised that you will convince us. So a good student may ask me now that, sir, if content does not define your subject of geography, then what defines geography? Because when you say your subject is a distinct subject, geography, so someone may have a good question that, sir, what defines your subject? Or what makes you call yourself as a geographer? Then my answer is, what I study does not define me. But how do I study what I study? That defines me as a geographer. Think of this point, that geography is not defined by what it studies. Geography is defined by how does it study what it studies. It means what defines the subject of geography is the methodology, the approach we use in the subject. So it means you are being told we study almost everything of nature and human society seen on the Earth's surface. But what makes us different from sociologists or psychologists or students of physics or any other subject is the approach, is the methodology we use. So what is the next question in the mind? The student would ask me, sir, what is that? Method. Then my answer in the notes would be, the method which defines the subject of geography is called as spatial analysis. So we geographers do spatial analysis of natural elements as well as human elements on the Earth's surface. So what is the next question? What is the spatial analysis? Now, before I tell you that, you write the sentence first. No, write this important feature of the subject. There is a student asking me that study of the earth as the home of man, then why not other beings? See, then other subjects will take care of that, no? Ecologists are there. They will study about the other species of life also. So please write, what is like at this particular point, please write, geography is governed by method. Geography is governed by method rather by a specific body of knowledge. Geography is governed by method rather by a specific body of knowledge. And this method is known as spatial analysis. And this method is known as spatial analysis. And this method is known as spatial analysis. Now be on the board after this. Now the class is interested to ask me what is the spatial analysis. So let's try to understand the methodology which defines the subject. Please be on the board, don't write anything. So see, now I need to inform my students about the approach called spatial analysis. See, in very simple words, I'll say spatial analysis is the analysis of something with respect to space. So whenever you analyze something in relation to space, it is called spatial analysis. Now, though I have given a very correct definition, but I find many faces are Greek and Latin. Means they have not understood my statement. It means as a teacher, I understand from the faces that I need to speak more about it. Yes, I'll make you understand much better. See here. But on the face of it, I'll say spatial analysis means analysis of something about the nature or human society with respect to space. But I understand you don't get a concrete feel out of it. So to tell you more clearly what is spatial analysis, I take you to school geography. So let's revisit school geography and understand what is the spatial analysis. Can I say in school geography we studied about the physical features of the earth? Yes, please. Like for example, we studied about the fold mountains of the world, like Himalayas, like Aravallis. We also studied about economic resources of the world. like oil and many other. We studied about the, let's say, climates of the world. We studied about the vegetation of the world. We studied about the soils of the world. We studied about the earthquakes, volcanoes, and many other things. Am I right? Let's investigate. Let's recall. How did we study what we studied? We studied all these kind of things. Let's see by one or two examples out of these. How did we study all these things? Let's say first part. How did we study fold mountains? Can I say our school books and our school teachers under this topic made us first understood what are fold mountains. They told us what these mountains are. And then school teacher or the books made us understood that how they are distributed on the earth surface. So they gave us the spatial pattern of distribution of the spatial pattern of distribution of these mountains, the fold mountains on the earth surface. Remember, you have seen maps where the fold mountains were located. So what is it? It is a spatial pattern, that design of their distribution on the earth surface. And then teacher made us understood why the distribution is the way it is. Why fold mountains are located only in certain locations of the world. So first he made us understood what are fold mountains. Then they give us a distribution of those fold mountains on the earth surface. Means there was a spatial pattern defined. They gave us a map also on that. And then the teacher or the books made us understood why the pattern is the way it is. Why fold mountains are restricted to those locations only. And then they went for other details, how they have evolved over the time. That is, Himalayas have a youthful landscape because there is the exogenic processes have not shown the might much, whereas in the Aravallis, they have reached the old age. So we understood about other details, how and many other related parameters and all that. Now, how did we study economic resources? Let's say oil. In the oil also we had the same kind of approach. First teacher made us understood what is economic resource. Definition was generally given as anything which brings a utility to mankind. Then we listed different types of resources. Finally, we selected the one we wanted to study. And then we understood that oil is not found everywhere on the earth surface. There's a particular pattern of distribution. So teachers and the books made us understood what is the spatial pattern of distribution of oil as a resource on the earth surface. Then the same point that then the books and the teachers made us understood why the oil is located in those particular areas only or particular rocks where it is in this pattern. So we went into the why part of it, that why the distribution is the way it is. And then they related other dimensions. For example, they made us understood that over the time period, oil has a lot of politics involved with it. Tell me, is oil having a lot of geopolitics or not? Certainly, yes. And there was a question here before last about that geopolitics of the oil only. Means first part of the question demanded that there is an unequal distribution of oil on the earth surface, and the rest of the part was from the newspapers of the year, that because in that particular year there was a lot of talk about the pricing of oil and other such details. So there was a question in UPSC. So it means who only reads book will never write a good answer. Means you take the first part of the answer from the books, that there's a non-uniform distribution of oil on the earth surface, but the second part of the answer will come from newspaper reading. This is what I was trying to tell you, that 40 to 50% of the entire syllabus content will come from newspaper. So they gave us the politics involved in the oil. Now, whatever I have told you, in the case of fold mountains and oil, can I say the same approach we have done in every other topic? Yes, please. But the only problem was our school teachers never told us that they were doing spatial analysis. They did all this, no? But they never used the term spatial. And that is the only problem. It means we were taught in a mechanical fashion. So today I simply say, whatever you have done in the subject of geography in school, that was all spatial analysis, that you first understood what is this phenomenon, and then you went for seeing how it is distributed on the earth surface. Then you raise a question why the distribution is the way it is, and then you went for some related dimensions of it. So whatever I've just told you is what we include under spatial analysis. Is that okay for everyone? Now, notice one important common point in all these subject matter. Means whatever I have written on the board we studied in school geography, can I say all these things have one element common, and that is all these things have a non-uniform distribution on the earth surface. Remember, fold mountains are not seen everywhere. Oil is not found everywhere. The climates of the world are not uniform. The vegetation is not uniform. Somewhere you have forests, somewhere you have grasslands, somewhere we have deserts, and within each we have further variations. We do not have same soil everywhere. We do not have earthquakes happening the same way everywhere. Yes or no? And same with the volcanism also. So you all will notice one thing, that whatever we studied in school geography has one common thing, and that is they all have non-uniform distribution. And do remember, if there is something which is uniformly available on the earth surface, don't you think that particular thing will never require any spatial analysis? Means if something is available everywhere uniformly, what is there for me to analyze about that thing in terms of space? Those things which have a non-uniform distribution on the earth surface, they need what is called spatial analysis. It means one thing is clear, that my subject is based on the approach called spatial analysis, and spatial analysis makes sense when we have something what we wish to study has a non-uniform distribution of the on the earth surface. Is that yes or no? So a few minutes back I made a big claim that we geographers study almost everything of nature and human society found on the earth surface. So anyone who was not happy with my claim, anyone who wants to counter me on this point, I give a minute to the whole class. Give me one good example. I repeat, one good example. It should be good. One good example of something of the nature or human society which has a uniform distribution on the earth surface, and you can say that, sir, since it is uniform, so you have no reason to study it in geography. Have you understood my point? That anyone who is not happy with my claim, who was thinking that I'm in some high, can counter me by giving me one good example, but it should be good, of anything of nature or human society which has so uniform a distribution so that you can say that, sir, it won't need any spatial analysis, and therefore it is not part of your subject called geography. Is the point clear? So take a minute and counter my claim. Jyoti Meena writes air. She says air is uniform. It means she's trying to eat away my bread and butter. My half of the subject is atmospheric science. Is air uniform? Are we not differentiating air in terms of pressure differences? In terms of temperature? Okay, you might not remember this because you studied in school, but don't you think we have cities being ranked on the basis of air quality index? So air differs in so many things: temperature, pressure, moisture content. So we have a lot to study about the air. Now there is a student writing composition of air. No. As I go higher in elevation, oxygen changes. There's a student, Yash Agarwal, writing movement of earth. No. Turkey moved more. Yes or no? If Himalayas move, we Indians, later you'll understand. See, somewhere the things are, wait, I'll come to an example later. Somewhere things are moving more. Somewhere the things are not moving much. Some areas are more prone to earthquakes, no? Now there's a student writing revolution, rotation. See, rotation of the Earth's axis will give us days and nights. And days and nights would vary in their length. So we'll have a lot to study. Means I'm going to teach you a chapter called seasonality. Who says politics is uniform? Is politics uniform? It's everywhere, but politics, degrees, levels, intensities, objectives differ. No? Yes? He says darkness is uniform. No. When I say there is a 6 months of night at the pole, even that is not complete darkness. Darkness differs. The length of the night will differ from one area of the world to another. See how poor you are reaching to. That's why I said, give me a good example. No? Who says gravity? Very good. I knew some student of physics will say, see, even gravity is not uniform. Gravity near equator is not same as gravity at the poles. But if I give that answer only, I'm not a good student of science. I would go further. We have a phenomenon called tides. And some of you might know that tides are so complex on the Earth's surface. They vary so much from one location to the other that Newton, who gave the first theory on tides, failed giving a complete understanding. And even after Newton, no one has given us, even today, a complete theory on tides. And tides vary a lot only for the reason that there is a very complex interaction of gravity for three bodies of the three bodies in the nature: Earth, Sun, and Moon. So it means the gravitational interactions of these three bodies vary so much on the Earth's surface that we have a very complex distribution of the phenomenon called tides. So even the gravity is not a good answer. Electromagnetic waves would be same, uniform. Insolation, the energy of the sun would change. No, we Indians are hot throughout the year. Europeans are hot only for summer. You didn't understand this statement, no? I'll make you understand. Who says radiation? I've just told you solar radiation is not uniform. See here, this area of the world is very hot, surplus. Here we have colder conditions. That's why I said we Indians are hot throughout the year. You're still not matching. Again, see how poor someone is going for. It means, see, this is the problem. Most of us do not write in the examination what is being asked. We speak whatever we want to. So take a learning home today that if you want to do good in life and good in examination called UPSC, write or speak in life what is being asked. What is my question? I'm talking about the things on the Earth's surface. I'm talking the elements of nature and human society on the Earth's surface. And someone says universe. Yes? Please raise your hand first. What inside the atom? String. Okay, very good. I knew. There would be a student like atom, molecules, or you are going inside also that. See, you need to focus on the point that when atoms comprise some particular thing, is that uniform on the Earth's surface or not? Means, why are you so deadly against proving me wrong? Means, why are you going so poor in your answers? I talked about the climates of the world, the vegetation, the soil, the fold mountains and all that. Now you are coming to, and someone says magnetic field is uniform. No, magnetic field is not uniform. You are wrong. Someone says photosynthesis is uniform. I believe that we are wasting time, no? Origin of water. Is origin of water uniform? What is origin of water? Tell me, what is that origin? Clouds? You are not clear about the origin itself and you are saying origin is not uniform. You please first clear about the origin. I said clouds are the origin for water for you. Then what is that origin? Tell me. Is that uniform? No. Some rivers have some one particular source. right? Some other would, like there are limited resources, or the water means from where the water comes to a particular river will differ in catchment area, the source itself, glacier melting, or simply rainfall and all that. Very good interview. Your structure inside is same as the next student sitting there, who is physically stronger than you? No. Okay. I do not need to waste my time. No, nothing. Very good. If that was the case, then why did we have a concept called mean sea level? No. Then why we are talking about tides as a phenomenon? Why we are talking about other kind of things in the world ocean? No. Mean sea level itself tells you that you are so wrong. No. That we have gone for mean sea level because sea level keeps changing. Now let's say, perhaps now the things are like you are wasting the time of the class. No. So for these reasons only, see how experienced I am. For these kind of poor answers, atoms and inside of the atom and all that, in some other batches they say, sir, love is uniform. Someone would say, God is uniform. So having learned such kind of things, remember, even someone says God is uniform, first we raise a question. Some people believe in God, some do not. And don't you think even we can study God through religious faiths? Yes or no? That kind of religious orientations we have. So remember, for avoiding this waste of time, which we have started going into, I wrote very clearly, we study almost everything of nature and human society. Okay. So almost everything of nature and human society. Now there is a student, Arush, writing, there was an answer given by this student, photosynthesis. And now he is asking that why not photosynthesis? Is photosynthesis uniform? When you know that needs the presence of sun, that itself tells you that higher the latitudes, higher I go in the latitudes, photosynthesis is not same. Okay. Yes. He says time is uniform. I'll take 2 lectures very soon on the concept of time itself. Local time, standard time, time zones of the world. You'll go wrong. Anyway, I'm not going to waste any time further. So, majority of the class understands the theme now. That's geography is a subject which can study. And I remember this is only for these kind of students you have seen. No? Otherwise, I have no reason to write even the word almost. Now I'll give you some particular kind of cases. In school, we studied geography of fold mountains. Is okay when I say geography of fold mountains, it means spatial analysis of fold mountains. We produce geography of oil. We produce geography of climates in school, geography of earthquakes or soils and all that, right? But now let me give you some examples of the things we study in geography, which will impress you about my observation that we study almost everything of nature and human society. Now I'm going to write on the board something which you would not have expected to be written on the board in the first lecture of geography or in any lecture of geography. We in geography also study terrorism. Tell me, do we have a possibility of geography of terrorism? Yes. Remember, if this board is my world map, then I can identify certain places on this map from where the chances of origin of a terrorist activity originating are much more than the rest of the world map. It means there's a clear geography of origin of terrorism. And then I can identify certain other areas of the same world map where the chances of the impact of that terrorist activity going are more than the rest of the world. It means there is a clear geography of origin as well as impact of terrorism. It means I can say there is no no study of terrorism in the world is complete without a spatial analysis. How can you counter terrorism at the international level without having a spatial analysis? So it means that today geographers are contributing a lot in the studies of terrorism. We never thought of it in school, no? Now tell me, if you go with the same approach, do we have geography of poverty in India? Do we have geography of development in India? Do we have geography of epidemics in India? Do we have geography of medical infrastructure in India? Do we have geography of vaccination against corona? Yes, please? Yes. So it means almost everywhere we have geography. It means to the extent the things are non-uniform, to that extent we can go for spatial analysis. Remember, yes, I can agree to this point that there are some things which are less uniform, less non-uniform as compared to the others. For example, someone was asking me that why did you write almost? One, I wrote almost for the reason of poor answers, because some students I knew would be deadly against me. That atoms and molecules and God and love and emotions, though even none of them is uniform, but they will waste the time of the class. So that is why I wrote almost. And the second reason is, see, look at United Nations today. Can I say in terms of membership, I do not have much to study in a spatial approach. Think of this. I'm trying to see, you never would have thought of that. I'll talk to United Nations in lecture on geography. You thought me worth? Means you took me worth for what? Rivers, mountains, etc. And see, I have brought you to the discussion of terrorism, epidemics, medical infrastructure, or can I say there's a clear geography of medical oxygen. We lost precious lives in Delhi only for the reason that our planners didn't have spatial approach in mind. Remember, India had enough quantity of oxygen, medical oxygen at the time of the problem, yes or no? But it was not available in the cities where we required it, like Delhi, etc. It means Indian planning failed because of lack of spatial approach. And we failed one wave after the other. That is more miserable. That we didn't learn from our past experience. Now some of the hospitals in Delhi and in Mumbai, they have gone for their own plants in the same area. Earlier, they never thought. His whole medical planning was not thinking of this particular kind of, or we had the worst experience, even then we didn't change. Or till 1980s, Indian planning in most of the fields didn't focus on space. And that is why India went for uniform policies of population. We thought what works in Kerala will work in Bihar also. And later we understood it never worked. And that is why we had Bimaru states of India. Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, UP. That they failed miserably in demography in the field of population. And there's a clear north-south divide today in India for the demographic parameters. Now, so I come to the example where you may have less non-uniform distribution, means less scope for spatial approach. Today, almost every country of the world is a member of United States. So I say, as a geographer, I do not have much to speak, much to analyze with respect to space for the membership of United Nations, because almost every country is a member. So it means I do not have much scope for spatial analysis in terms of membership of United Nations, yes or no? Because almost every country is a member. But still I have a scope to study there also something. Can I say each country has one vote, but the power of each vote is not same. It means I can study membership in terms of power politics of the United Nations. That American vote is much stronger than some other country's vote. So it means I still have a scope to study the spatial approach or to go for spatial analysis in terms of something of the United Nations, but not in terms of simple membership. Now, I'll give you one more example. Please write this term geopolitics somewhere. Please make a margin or write in anywhere, like you write the term geopolitics. What is geopolitics? Now, through this word, I want to tell my class that every day when you read your newspaper and when you go to the international page, you'll find the relevance of geography, either directly visible or you will find it between the lines. What is geopolitics? Simple. Geographical causation of international politics. You can write this phrase. Geopolitics refers to geographical causation of international politics. Geographical causation of international politics. Now, what does it mean? It means that geography remains one of the determinants of international politics. It means you will find the relevance of geography to some or the other extent for every news on the international page. When you read about Ukraine and Russia, it is more visible clearly. But in other areas, it might be less visible. But it is always there. Now, if I take you back into history, Napoleon used to say, geography rules the politics of the nations. You can write this statement against the name of Napoleon. So, right, Napoleon used to say, geography rules the politics of the nations. Geography rules the politics of the nations. Now, let me show you something on the board. See here. In the times of Napoleon, geography was more important than what it is today. And that is why Napoleon said, geography rules the politics of the nations. But today I'll say that geography is not that important that it would rule the politics of the nations. So it means I do admit as a student of geography, the importance of geography has declined in world politics. Why? Because of certain developments. Can I say the importance of geography has declined since the times of Napoleon? One, because of technology. That American forces need not go to Afghanistan. They can fire a missile from their homeland to a particular location of any particular country of the world. So technology has reduced the importance of geography in world politics to some extent because of military technology or information technology. Second, can I say the bodies like United Nations or regional associations, they also have reduced the importance of geography. Remember when there was a weak country near a big country, earlier there was more clear implication of that location for a small country. But today the small country can put its concern on the platform of United Nations. To some extent, in that way, the importance of geography has reduced. That weak country, that small country is not alone today, right? And third, can I say, globalization is killing geography? Because what is true globalization? That we are trying to make the whole world as one market and the whole world as one production center. So these kind of developments since the times of Napoleon have reduced the importance of geography. So I'll not say that geography rules the politics today, but at least I'll say geography is one of the important determinants of international politics. Okay, because of these developments, there are certain changes. So it means there are enough points to convince you about this statement that we geographers have no boundary in terms of what we can study of nature and human elements. Because almost everything which is important to us from both the parts has some or the other degrees of non-uniformity on their surface. And to the extent something is non-uniform, we can subject it to spatial analysis. And whenever we subject something to spatial analysis, that becomes a subject matter for, or that becomes a part of geography. Now, this is one point. Now, we have understood in this discussion that geography is a what kind of science? Spatial science, right? Is it that, are you convinced with this? That today you have come to a class of a subject which is spatial in approach. Now, what exactly do I wish that you should take home today from this lecture? My suggestion to the class is that if you have understood this point, that geography has no limitation in terms of what it studies, it means I want every one of you after my lecture at 8 p.m. today to be to some degrees, you need to be a geographer in your personality. Means after 8 p.m. today, you should become a part geographer. What does that mean? That anything you speak about and anything you write about, you must have one or two elements about its spatial angle. It means don't complete your any answer in the main examination or in the interview without some dimensions relating to space. It means write some social elements, write some economic elements, write some political elements. But after this lecture, do write some geographical elements, means spatial elements, because nothing in the world you talk about or write about is uniform. So you have 2 or 3 points to enrich your answers about what is called spatial analysis. Is that understood or not? That I'm not only teaching geography today, I'm saying your answer writing in the mains would improve, your answers in the interview would be much better by having addition of 1 or 2 extra points from spatial approach. That after 8 p.m. start thinking like a geographer. And when you go to this market, you will see a lot of geography there. Do you notice so many book stalls here? So many photo set shops, so many food caterers. Why? Only because of you here. It means there is a geography in terms of services in a city like Delhi. And it's the same in your city. Have you not, means whatever town or city of India you belong to, don't you think there is a spatial design of that city? That there is one area of your city which is more for furniture related things. There's one area where you have more of administrative buildings. There's one area which is more for educational institutes and so on and so forth. There's an area for residential accommodation. There's some area for offices and all that. So it means there is a geography of a city also. That there's a spatial organization of the services in a town or a city. So from today onward, please develop what is called spatial approach in your thought process. It will always give you better answer for any topic of life, because there is nothing which is not uniform that you cannot apply geography there. Okay. Now, if you understand geography is a spatial science, now what I'll do in the next 10 minutes is, now I'll give you a philosophical orientation for every science we have. Means now I'll speak for 10 minutes, not for geography, but for every science, both social sciences as well as physical sciences. Now I'm going to write something on the board, and I know most of you will not understand in the first go, but in the next 10 minutes, as I explain, you will understand. See here. Let us understand in the next 10 minutes, little philosophically, that what is the common contribution of every science to humanity. Means every science has one common kind of, say, objective with which we human beings have gained a lot. Means there's one common aspect of every science which helps making our lives easier. And I'm going to write about that on the board. And I know most of you will not understand in the very first go, but I'll give you this example as 1 or 2 examples to understand. See here, I write. Please don't just be on the board. Every science attempts discovering an order in the apparent chaos of nature or human society. Every science has one common goal. And what is that? To discover an order in the apparent chaos of nature or human society. It means physical sciences are trying to discover order in nature, and social sciences are trying to discover order in human society. But now you will not understand this unless until you know what do I mean by order. By order, I mean something what I was earlier referring as pattern, design. Those who don't understand this, what you learned in school science as generalization. Those who are still not getting my point, something what you studied as a theory. And those who are still not getting me, then I'll take some concrete example to make you understand that how every science has one common goal. I'll take one example from geography and one from any other subject. Means I'll take another subject from school or college and you will be convinced that it is for every science. Let us understand what I mean by this chaos and disorder. And how do I say that every science is making our life easier? I'll take something which is relevant in the present time. When you will study geomorphology with the other teacher of geography, from his lectures as well as from the books, you will get to know that earthquake, means a quake, can happen anywhere, anytime in the world. Means one reality of nature is that a quake can happen anywhere, anytime. Think of this point, that a quake can happen anytime, anywhere. It is so much true that we may not be able to complete today's lecture. Think of this. Means I want to say no place of the earth is immune from a quake. It can happen anywhere, anytime. It is possible that we may not be able to complete today's lecture. Now, some of you will be cursing me. That first lecture he has met me, this is our second or third lecture, the session. We have just paid the fee. And he is saying that we may not survive today's lecture. You will be really seeing me as a very negative person. No, within a few minutes you'll understand I am very positive in my approach. But if someone tells you, mind this now, if someone tells you that earth is so that no place is immune from a quake, it can happen anywhere, anytime, can I say it gives you a feel of chaos in nature? A feel of helplessness? That you're not very certain about your next moment in life? So this is what I understand as chaos here in this sentence. But what the science called geology and geography, what these sciences have done, these sciences called geology and geography and related things have given us a theory today called plate tectonics. You certainly would have heard of it, no? And this plate tectonics has given us what is called order. Let me explain this in very brief because other teacher will do it in detail. You will understand in the coming days of that lecture, or those lectures of geomorphology, that my whole earth surface is comprising many plates. Now, to make you understand plates without background of geography, take orange as your earth. The skin of the orange would be called as lithosphere in the topic of, or in the chapter of earthquakes or plate tectonics. So orange is my earth and the skin of the orange is a layer called lithosphere. And now you think or visualize that you take a knife and you cut that skin into pieces. Some are big pieces, the larger one, and some are smaller. So your teacher will say, or your books will say, that the whole earth's surface is comprising some major plates and some minor plates. So you are cutting the skin into pieces, but you are not peeling off the skin. It means plates are on the earth, right? So skin is on the fruit of the orange, but this skin is divided into many parts. And if you take my two hands as the two parts, the two plates, where they meet, that is called plate boundary. And plate tectonics theory will tell you that these plates interact with each other along the plate boundary. And you know, interactions lead to results in life. Yes. Exactly, this is the way we'll understand the subject. No, I know the way you haven't. Subject will become easier. Not only geography, whatever you study in life related to everyday's life, what you remember easily, what you want to remember. So subjects will be remembered in the examination also. So I'll say, where the plates meet, those are the boundaries. And where the boundaries are, the plates go for interactions. And how many types of interactions? 3 types of interactions. Exactly the way human beings have. You know, sometimes you go away from someone. Divergent boundary interaction. Sometimes you come closer to someone. Convergent boundary interaction. Sometimes you just pass time with each other. Transform boundary interactions. And these interactions lead to what? Earthquakes, volcanoes, mountain building processes. So what is the greatest contribution of this theory of plate tectonics? The greatest contribution of this theory is that this theory says most of the earthquakes, most of the volcanoes of the world, and most of the mountain building processes, they occur in the vicinity of the plate boundaries. So where are Himalayas? Himalayas are at the junction of Indian plate and Eurasian plate. So what you see in Turkey is a result of what? Plates interaction. You will find in Turkey there is a fault, there is a cut in Turkey, which is along which the Turkey's 2 parts will go for this interaction anytime. This is transform boundary interaction, North Anatolian fault. So today we will not go into all that detail. I just want to prove my point here. See here, a quake can happen anywhere, anytime. No place is immune from a quake. It gave you a feel of as if there is a chaos in nature. But there were teams of researchers who started working from 1915-16 onward, and they kept working on the floors of the oceans and on the continental surfaces, and lots of concepts were developed, understood about nature, and finally they were summed up together by late 1960s and 70s. And those all concepts which we studied here, they came to be called as theory of plate tectonics. And this theory of plate tectonics says, yes, a quake can happen anywhere, anytime. But this theory says we have discovered that nature or earth has, in the present times when we are on the earth, it has 3 seismic belts. It means there are 3 areas of the world map which are very prone to these interactions. And under these 3 seismic belts, they identify first as circum-Pacific belt. Means those areas of the continents of the world which are touching Pacific Ocean. Like west side of South America, west side of North America, or think of islands like Japan, etc. They are so prone to earthquake that this theory tells us that the times we are living on the earth, 80% of the quakes of the world are registered only in this belt. Now, when this is what I understand, what is this? This is a part of order. Now, the moment I say 80% of the quakes are registered only in circum-Pacific belt, don't you think we are confident we'll complete the lecture today? Not only today's lecture, we'll complete the whole session. And with God's grace, I'll complete more years, more sessions. No? Second, there is one another seismic belt. The books and teachers will tell you that from the mountains of Europe, if you come to the Himalayas, there's a chain of mountains which we'll call as Trans-Eurasian, means from Europe to Asia, mountain belt. This is the second seismic belt of the world, and this alone registers about 15% of the quakes of the world. See, 95% are covered, and Delhi is not anywhere in the picture. So, I see, I'm very positive. Yes or no? And The third belt lies in the world ocean. Many of you may know from school days or otherwise, and otherwise the class will get to know from the subject, that on the floors of the ocean, because of these plate boundary interactions and all, we have very important system of mountains there, which is everywhere in the world ocean, on the floor of the ocean, which is called mid-oceanic ridges. And these ridges, these mountains are much more massive than the mountains we have on the continent's surface. Means Himalayas will not stand anywhere in front of a ridge like mid-Atlantic ridge. Means right in the mid of the Atlantic Ocean, there's a mountain system starting from north to going to the south, almost without a break except one near the equator. And this mountain is so big, so massive that Himalayas have no match. So in the third belt, the scientists will tell us that you have mid-oceanic ridges of the ocean very prone to earthquakes. And in the third belt, they will include one part of Africa. Some of you might have seen in the world map that in the eastern part of Africa's continent, there have taken place some breaks, some fractures are there. Means you will get to know from plate tectonics theory that eastern part of Africa is breaking up today. And very soon, after some millions of years. Means in plate tectonics, it's very soon. Very soon, within a few million years, eastern part of Africa will get separated from major part, the rest of Africa. And between the two parts, there would be a sea being formed. So you will find from Red Sea down till the country called Mozambique, a new sea will get formed. And then plate tectonics theory will teach you that seas will get spread. They will become oceans of the world. And then there would be a time somewhere the oceans will get consumed also. Means somewhere ocean is getting consumed by subduction and somewhere the seas are turning into oceans. So, mid-oceanic ridges, and which part of Africa is it? East Africa. So we'll use the term East African Rift Valley system. Some of you might have noticed that in East Africa, because of those fractures, we have many lakes there today. And the whole region is called as East African Rift Valley system. And this particular area of the world, the oceans in the East African region, they have 3 to 4% of the earthquakes of the world. So how many earthquakes covered? 98 or 99%. So I hope you understand now what is chaos. That a quake can happen anywhere, anytime. And this gives me a feel of helplessness. But theory of plate tectonics gives us order in this chaos. That there are 3 seismic belts which alone register about 99% of the quakes of the world. So tell me, has the theory of plate tectonics made your life easier or not? Much easier. Now, I'll give you a second example. And in the second example, I will not need to speak much. Just one sentence, you will get convinced. It is so good an example. I would say, think of chemistry without periodic table. Don't think it would be a hell of a subject? Means no one would go for this subject. Or chemistry would not have reached to the level today what it is without periodic table. So what is periodic table? It is nothing but the order in the chaos of the elements seen in the nature. Yes or no? Means if this periodic table was not there, then you are supposed to study every element separately and thousands and lakhs of compounds of those elements separately. But see the beauty of those scientists who kept on looking for those elements through which they could go for some common points, and they kept going for a classification scheme. And see the beauty finally they reached to. They have given us a periodic table in which you can study number of elements together, that halogens in one group, yes or no? 7A of the periodic table, and they have similar properties. It means, how many will understand if I say now that science makes our lives easier by killing uniqueness? Tell me, yes or no? Science gives me order. It means in a way we are saying science is killing uniqueness. Those who are not getting my point, if Periodic table was not there. You had to deal with every element separately. But now we can treat them in bundles together. That is how life has become easier in with every such contribution of science. And see, in that periodic table, they left some spaces blank also, no? That some boxes are left empty, that you will discover these elements in the times to come, and we are discovering them, and they're fitting in right there, and we find their properties are same as what they have visualized at the time of the table formation, that classification scale. So is everyone convinced that every science has same common goal of discovering order? Now, if I couple my two parts of the lecture, can I say geography, being a spatial science, is attempting discovering what is called a spatial order? So what did we study in school? We studied finding spatial order of fold mountains of the world, spatial order of oil in the world, and spatial order of quakes and the volcanoes and climates and all that. Yes, please. And this is what you need to do after this class, that whatever answer you write about, whatever the topic may be, whether it's about good governance or about anything else, you have geography in it. And you must develop a spatial approach, and you must try to discover spatial order. Means, what is a good answer? The one which talks about the things separately one by one, or the one which is able to identify the gist in terms of the order? Don't think order would be great? The examiner will get to know that student has gone to the next level of studies. And how would you use this concept of order for your own preparation? I take you back to the first part of the lecture. Can I say, by analyzing your previous year's question papers and your syllabus, you can also discover order in the UPSC examination. So how would you make your preparation easier? By discovering order in the previous year's question papers. So don't waste time asking teachers. Very good. Some Mehul Anand is writing trends. Very good. Means the word you use is trend. I'm putting it as order. It means there's one approach. You see the 12 years paper of essay, and you find every year you had a different set of titles, yes, on topics. So the student will have a confusion, a chaos in mind, what to study, which topic to prepare. Now, when a student thinks that way, I understand he is not mature. So what the good student will do? By analyzing these 12 years essay paper, he or she will discover order. That these are those topics which fit in this bundle. These topics fit in this particular bundle. And finally, you will see that last 12 years question papers of essay fit in 10 bundles only. I hope you are getting my point. And it means when I read my newspaper tomorrow, I should keep collecting the elements for different bundles. That if there is an article in the newspaper, I read it, I get 2 sentences, and I understand this, go to this bundle. No? And this bundle is good for one particular set of topics. And who knows, this bundle is good for paper on ethics also. Paper on social issues also. So this is what I said, no one can else read newspaper for you. Are you getting my point or not? Means if you go for such integrated approach, you can make your examination much easier for yourself, and one attempt would be sufficient. Those who will go for fragmented approach, they will spend 4 years and they will go back home, I tell you. They will be engaged in this examination, but they will not get the result. And we Indians do talk about the things we wish to have in life, but we are not working for that. Okay, so attempt discovering what? Order in whatever you do in life. And your main focus for next 1.5 years is UPSC examination. Is this understood, that you can discover order in your UPSC syllabus as well as question papers? So now coming back to geography, please write. Now Amit Maurya is summarizing my discussion. Very good. I need students like this. He says it means spatial analysis equals spatial approach plus spatial order. Fine, good. That you apply spatial approach and you discover the spatial order. Fine, good. So write, geography is a spatial science, and it attempts discovering spatial order in human life and nature. So we have understood in this lecture that geography is a spatial science. It means we cannot move in this subject any further without knowing how to locate places on the earth's surface. Yes or no? Means if everything is to be related to space, then I must know as a student of geography that how do we locate places on the earth's surface? Yes or no? So it means we need to do some basics about the locating places, and for location of the places we need to take the help of a globe. What is globe? Can I say globe is a simplified version of the earth as a complex body? So now what we'll do is we'll go into understanding the shape of the earth, and then if the time permits we'll talk about something what would be the basis of the next lecture for developing a system to locate places of the earth's surface. You all have seen on the globe there's a network of lines which is called grid system, and this grid system is a network of lines. Lines are called, here you make the mistake. This is what is the way we have been taught in school. Latitudes and longitudes are not lines, they are angles. And Mehul Anand is writing very correctly that grid system comprises the lines called parallels and meridians. Parallels are based on the angles called latitudes, and meridians are based on the angles called longitude. Okay. Now, before we go into this, we should learn about the shape of the earth. And to understand the shape of the earth, we bring a new subject called geodesy. So please write this term. What is geodesy? Please write, geodesy is the science that attempts to determine Earth's shape and size, by surveys, means by looking around, by surveys and mathematical calculations. Now, this subject is about shape as well as size. My focus would be on shape today. So please write the title Earth's shape. Just write this title and be on the board. And please don't write till I make you write the notes. Okay, just follow me on the board. See, before I start this part of the lecture, let us make one more rule for my classes here. Whenever in any lecture I hold my left hand like this, you will see a globe there. Okay. I will never bring globe to my class. It's useless. If you wish to have a globe, have it on the table. But I'll do my subjects learnings with this approach. So whenever I hold my left hand like this, it is globe, or sometimes I'll make globe like this. Okay, North Pole and South Pole and all that. And you will understand better than what we have in a globe. Now, we'll understand now three concepts about the shape of the earth in a chronological way. You were told in today's lecture that Greeks are supposed to be the first geographers of the world. Now, these Greek scholars, centuries back, made a simplification for their analysis for the subject of geodesy, they, through their observations of nature, believed that Earth is a perfect sphere. So they made a model. Model means a simplification for the subject of geodesy by concluding that Earth is a, yes please, a perfect sphere. So Greeks assumed on the basis of their observations of nature that Earth as a planet is a perfect sphere. Means some observations of nature would give you hints that Earth is spherical in shape. Now this concept of shape of the Earth, that Earth is a perfect spherical shape, remained unchanged for centuries. Means no one challenged it, no one modified it. So we kept assuming the Earth as a, means we kept considering it as a perfect sphere. But in late 17th century, in the year 1687, there came a correction to this concept of shape of the Earth by the great scientist you all know, Sir Isaac Newton. We'll write the notes later, just follow me on the board. So Newton comes on the scene in late 17th century and goes to make a correction. He said that Earth, like any other planet, since it is spinning on its axis, axis you understand? By axis we mean imaginary line joining North Pole and South Pole, passing through the center of the Earth. So Newton concludes in late 17th century that since Earth is spinning on its axis, so Earth cannot be a perfect sphere. Because you know, the spin will lead to a force called centrifugal force. Centrifugal force, you understand? What seeks outward, like what is moving outward. Centripetal is center seeking. So he said because of the centrifugal force, Earth, like any other planet, cannot be a perfect sphere. So he said because of the spinning, Earth is bulging through the middle. You understand it better, no? So Earth is, this is without spin. Okay. So Earth is bulging through the middle and it is flattened at the top and bottom. So he said Earth is not perfect sphere. It is little misshapen. And what is the misshapening of the Earth? It is bulging out in the middle portion and it is flattened at the top and bottom. It means Newton very rightly said that Earth cannot be a perfect sphere. Earth is, in simple words, a flattened sphere. And this flattened sphere came to be called from the times of Newton in technical books as oblate spheroid. So it means from this time onward, we started calling Earth as a oblate spheroid. So first concept was Earth as a perfect sphere. In late 17th century, we started calling Earth as oblate spheroid, or in simple words, a flattened sphere. But there came one more change, and the third change came, or the third concept came in 20th century. The third concept of the shape of the Earth came when our Earth had started taking its selfie. Means before we started taking our selfie, the Earth had already started doing it. I hope you understand my point. In 20th century, I'm talking about that time when we started sending satellites up in space, and those satellites took the images of the Earth from outside. And when those images came to the base stations, scientists found that our Earth's surface is very unique. The configuration is very complex. Some we have high mountains, some we have deep oceans. So they thought that when Earth is having so unique a configuration, mind this point, that in 20th century, when scientists got the images from the satellites of the Earth's shape, they found that Earth's shape is very unique in itself. It is very complex as well as it is very unique. And they thought that our Earth is unique for the reason that it is the only known living planet And along with that, they found that it has a unique shape of its own. So they thought, when Earth is so unique a body, that this is the only known living planet till now, and it has a unique configuration, then why are we saying its shape is like some other shape? Why don't we give this unique shape a unique name? So from this time onward, our scientists started calling Earth as a geoid. So today we technically prefer the use of the term geoid. So we say the shape of the Earth is unique in itself and it is better called as geoid. Now, someone who doesn't understand, someone may say, sir, what does it mean when you say it is a geoid? My notes will give an interesting answer. My notes will say, when we say Earth is a geoid, geoid simply means that the shape of the Earth is uniquely Earth-shaped. Means you are asking, what is the shape of the Earth? I say, the shape it has. Means whatever the Earth shape is, that shape is called geoid. It means this is the shape of the Earth, no other planet. Yes or no? It means we are giving primacy to uniqueness of the Earth. So from 20th century, we had the use of this term, right? So 3 concepts were done. Let's write this and then I'll give you some new additional element. Please write these 3 observations. First point, in 1687, put a comma, Sir Isaac Newton postulated that the round Earth, along with other planets, could not be perfectly spherical. In the same right further, until this time, next sentence, until this time, the spherical perfection model, model means a simplification. Spherical perfection model was a basic assumption of geodesy. I repeat both the sentences. You have written first, in 1687, Sir Isaac Newton postulated that the round Earth along with other planets could not be perfectly spherical. Second sentence was, until this time, the spherical perfection model was a basic assumption of geodesy. Now write the next point. Newton reasoned that Earth is a slightly misshapen by its spinning. Earth is slightly misshapen by its spinning. Put a comma, making it bulge through the, now please take a pause on the board. Earlier I was saying it is bulging through the middle. You know, middle is not the right word. It is not technically correct, no? Middle would be technically called as equator. So please write bulging through the equator. Those who don't know what is equator, please understand it as middle. Right? Next lecture will give you the technicality of this concept. So making it bulge through the equator and flattened at the top and bottom would be called as poles, and flattened at the poles. And having written this sentence right within bracket, oblates Freud. This shape was called as oblates Freud. Now write the third point. Today, the earth is considered a geoid. Today, the earth is considered a geoid. Full stop. Next sentence you write. The geoid means that the shape of the earth is uniquely earth shaped. The shape of the earth is uniquely earth shaped. Okay. Now let's add some numerical dimension to it. Please be on the board. So see, earth is bulging out in the middle portion and it is flattened here at the top and bottom. It means the two diameters are not same. One diameter is polar diameter and the other is equatorial diameter. So since earth is bulging in the middle portion, so equatorial diameter is little longer than the polar diameter. So let's see how much is the discrepancy of my earth from a true spherical shape. Means how much is the variation of my planet from being a perfect sphere. So let's see the dimensions. Please write. Slightly flattened polar diameter is approximately equal to 12,714 kilometers. 12,714 kilometers. Similarly, right, slightly bulging equatorial diameter is approximately equal to 12,756 kilometers. Now, if I want to find out numerically how much is the variation of my planet from a spherical shape, perfectly spherical shape, what I need to do? I need to see this difference, 12,756 minus 12,714, and I need to see it, that how much it is a part of the total. Means either I can take this as base or I can take this as a base. So what I do is I take the difference and I divide it by any of the two, whatever you feel like, because difference will not be much. Now please calculate this variation using your cell phone and give me in percentage the answer. Means what is the variation? Use your phone. Like some people will wait for others to do it. बिना मरे स्वर्ग नहीं प्राप्त होगा, मरना भी खुद को ही है, आज से सीख लो, ये अपने आप कीजिए अब सब काम. 0.3%. Very good, excellent. Yes, now you stop doing it. He has given the answer. You're like, see, he'll pass in CSET. Though calculators are not allowed. Now, very good. It means, mind this now, how much is the variation of my planet from the spherical shape? It is 0.3%, right? Yes, please. So write. Please write. The Earth's variation from a true spherical shape, Earth's variation from true spherical shape is about 0.3%. Is about 0.3%. Now, let's go for one practical observation. Yes, please be on the board. Let us suppose tomorrow morning you go to the market and you purchase a basketball. Means with studies, sports are also needed, no? So let's say you purchase a basketball tomorrow, or you purchase a football, or you purchase a tennis ball. Please tell me before I go further, the ball you purchase, one of these balls you purchase, or your earth, which one do you think is in general, mind the words carefully, one of the balls you purchase from the market or the earth, which one of these in general you feel or you believe is more spherical in shape? Yes, please? Very good. Almost everyone immediately said, sir, one of these balls would be more spherical. But don't you think if that was the answer, I'm wasting your time? Means we have to close the lecture and I'm still left with something, so I'm short of time at this moment. And if the answer is one of these balls, then I'm wasting my time and your time also. So reconsider your answer. Now you are saying very confidently that one of these balls is more spherical. Did any one of you, since school days, measure the diameters of any of these balls? No. It means your elders in school and at home told you that these are the examples of spheres and you took them as perfect spheres. So today you are being told that because of manufacturing reasons, most of these balls which you find in the market at very low prices, they have errors, and generally, not always, remember my question was in general, generally the errors are more than 0.3%. It means now I want to tell my class for practical purposes that though my earth is not a perfect sphere, but it is still a better sphere than most of the so-called spheres of life. Now you may be wondering that why are we comparing our earth with these balls and saying it is more spherical? The reason is that from next lecture onward, for most of the lecture will stop as per the topic, no? See, the only privilege we teachers have is to close the lecture. Lecture is always opened by the administration. We close it as teachers. And you know, once I leave the institute, when I reach home, privileges lie somewhere else. So the only privilege in life is closing the lecture. So I'll not let it snatched away. Okay, fine, good. So why do I want to conclude this particular point? Means I'm trying to say that my earth is better than most of the spheres, which you have already assumed as spheres, right? Now, why it is being told here? Because for almost all practical purposes of this subject of geography, for all my classes, I'll take earth to be a perfect sphere. Means only at some occasions I talk about this discrepancy which we are seeing today. But mostly I'll not really need to give importance to it. Means it is so less a discrepancy that it doesn't play any important role in our physical phenomena we want to study in geography. So for all my classes in general, we will assume earth to be a perfect sphere. And we are mentioning this comparison today only for the reason that none of you could counter my assumption in the coming classes. Yes or no? Because if someone says, sir, how do you assume this earth to be perfectly spherical? Then I'll say it is better than something what you have already assumed in life as spherical. So please write this point. Please write. Earth's variation from true spherical shape is very minute. Earth's variation from true spherical shape is very minute. Therefore, for most of the practical purposes, we can treat earth as if it were a perfect sphere. I repeat, therefore, for most of the practical purposes, we can treat earth as if it were a perfect sphere. Further, write one more sentence. Indeed, it is a more nearly perfect sphere. Indeed, comma. indeed, comma, it is a more nearly perfect sphere, a more nearly perfect sphere than most of the spheres, when you write spheres, write within inverted commas, because in reality they may not be exact. So right, then most of the spheres with which we come into frequent contact, within bracket you can write such as a basketball or a football, Now I'll take 10 minutes more and we'll set some base for my next lecture. Okay, so be on the board for the last portion of the lecture. Now I'll take you to please write this title: International Meridian Conference 1884. IMC 1884, International Meridian Conference, which was held in 1884. Now, please don't write anything, just listen to me for next 10 minutes. See, in 1884, scholars and the political representatives of the important Western countries of that time came together in the city of Washington, D.C. for this conference, which was named as IMC, International Meridian Conference. And the scholars of this conference, and they were basically Western scholars, you know, in those days, we were not having any importance in the world society. So only a few countries representatives, around 27 in number, the countries, they met in this conference and they decided for the whole world the kind of things we are using today for locating places on the Earth's surface, and for the concepts we are using today for concept of time, the kind of things we are using for the time zones, international date line, or you would have heard of Greenwich Meridian, etc., or Greenwich Mean Time. So in this conference, one, we developed a common system for locating places for the whole world and the common rules for the concept of time. Now, I'm not saying that before 1884, humanity did not know how to locate places on the Earth's surface. You know, much before 1884, for centuries, sailors were traveling in the world ocean, and you can't sail without knowing the location of the places and all that. So the only thing you have to understand here is that before 1884, we had regional systems to locate places. Means different communities of the world were using different approaches to locate places. So the only new thing which was happening in this particular conference was that we were developing one common system for the whole world. And second thing, we were also focusing on the concepts of time, which we are going to study very soon. Now, in this conference, they developed the basic concepts what we study today as latitude and longitude. So in the next lecture, you will understand that when you have to develop the address for a place on the spherical surface, you need two angular distances. Means the address of a place would have two components, and these two components are two angles. One angle is called latitude and the other is called longitude. Now, technically what these are, we'll understand in the next lecture, but today we have a broad discussion. By latitude, we would mean that what is the angular distance of a place north or south of some reference. Remember, when you locate places, you always do it in relation to some reference. That you happen to go to your friend's house first time with your friend only, having met at a particular appointed place. From there you went to his or her house. So that place from where you started, that place became your reference for all the times to come. So locating places always needs a reference, or would become easier if you have a reference. So for a place to be located, we need an address, and address on the Earth's surface means on the surface of a sphere would need how many angles? 2 angles. One is latitude, the other is longitude. Broadly today, what is latitude? The angular distance of a place north or south of something, means some reference. And what is longitude? Longitude is the angular distance of the place east or west of something. So here it is east or west, you need one more reference. Now, a few minutes back, we have understood that our Earth is not a perfect sphere. Now, I'll show you in the next 5 minutes that for this conference, it was good that Earth is not a perfect sphere. Because I hope you understand that for the angular distance latitude, where you are saying it is north or south, don't think it became easier for the scholars of this conference to choose the reference line, because nature had already decided it for us that where Earth is bulging out in the middle, where the Earth is bulging out in the middle portion, that would be a natural choice for angular distance north or south. It means what I'm trying to say is that the scholars who are sitting in this conference, they had no reason to discuss about the reference line for north-south distance, because nature had given its best choice. Where Earth is bulging out, that was the best place for reference north or south. Is it okay? And this portion, where Earth is bulging out in the middle, would be technically called in the next lecture as equator. This is one part. Now, second, you will see in the next lecture that for making a system of lines called parallels and meridians, you need some positions to anchor them. And you have been told today that Earth is flattened at the top and bottom. So can I say where Earth is flattened, they would become nature's choice for poles? Yes, miss? It means my summation is the scholars in this conference didn't need to waste time for deciding reference for north-south distance, and second, for deciding what would be the position of the poles. And those who are not getting my point, imagine if there is a tennis ball in your hand and your friend also has the same tennis ball. Don't you think your choice of the poles may not match with the choice of your friend? And you know, when choices do not match, then there's a fight. So it means you understand that there was no fight in this conference for two things of the system: the position of the poles and the reference line for the angular distance north or south. But for these scholars, there came one problem, and that was the reference line for longitude, the east-west distance. Because if my left hand is the Earth now, the globe, and this is North Pole and this is South Pole, can I say I can join North and South Pole in infinite ways? Yes, please. And can I say on the face of it, each of these lines which I can draw joining North Pole and South Pole would be equally good or bad for acting as a reference for east or west? It means this is one reference line, or this is also another reference line. Means if I say this is good, the other scholar may say, what is wrong with this one? Or someone may say this is also good. Someone may say this is good. I hope you understand there would be n number of such lines. And you know, when these representatives belong to different countries, each one would would like to have the reference line passing through his or her own country, so that the world has to look towards them for all the times to come. So it means you understand that nature had not given us any choice for east-west reference line. Is that clear? And you know, it means, this implies that these scholars had choices. And when choices are there, happen to fight. It means a lot of time was wasted in this conference choosing reference line for east or west. Because every country's represented is wanted the reference line to pass through their region. But we all know from school days that finally they decided the reference line, which is called, now yes, you went for the pronunciation as Greenwich Meridian, but the correct pronunciation in UK for it is Greenwich. This is a place called Greenwich, which is little east of London. But if I say Greenwich, I'll sound wrong because we have been speaking it as Greenwich. So I'll also call it as Greenwich. So Greenwich Meridian. Greenwich is a small town east of London. Let us say this is that place. What is Greenwich Meridian? Meridian would be a line in the next lecture joining North Pole with South Pole. So this line, which is joining North and South Pole passing through Greenwich, would become your Greenwich Meridian. And this meridian, you all know from school days, is our 0 degree meridian, or it is our prime meridian. It means we decided in this conference the Greenwich Meridian as our reference meridian. Now the class will say, sir, when others were also the equally good choices, then what led to this selection? Then I'll give you 3 reasons for it. Number 1 reason is, at the place called Greenwich, there's a royal observatory. And this royal observatory was already in use as a reference point by the sailors of the world. I told you that before this system was decided, we had regional systems. And for regional systems, these people had regional reference points. So one point which went in favor of this Greenwich place was that this place was already in use as a reference point by the sailors because there was a royal observatory here. So this point went in favor. Second point, second factor which is given here is generally not written in books because it is taken as unstated reason. You know, till this time, the English empire was the most dominant empire in the world. So it means it goes without being said that the dominance of the English empire would have been a reason in the selection of Greenwich Meridian. Means the arguments given by the English scholars would have carried more weight in the debates. So second reason is generally not written, but we understand by common sense. But remember, first reason of Royal Observatory is historical. Second reason of dominance is political. And historical and political reasons are not good enough for deciding something technical. So the third reason, which was the technical reason, the main reason for the selection of Greenwich Meridian, is the one which relates to a concept which I'll be teaching you after 2 or 3 classes, and that is called international date line. Now let's understand briefly this point. If you take my left hand as a globe, let's say the line which I'm making now between North and South Pole, when I join this, let's say this is Greenwich Meridian. Now when I travel from Greenwich Meridian towards India, can I say I'm traveling east? And when I travel from Greenwich Meridian towards North America, I'm traveling west. So let's see how far I can go from this 0 degree. If I travel from Greenwich Meridian towards India, then towards Japan, then finally I'll reach the opposite side. When I reach the opposite side, can I say it is 0 to 180 degrees east? Yes, miss? If I travel from Greenwich again, but I go towards North America now, that is towards west, and traveling further west, can I reach the opposite side again? And when I reach the opposite side, now since I have gone the west side, so can I say it would be 180 degrees west? It means longitude would vary from 0 degree to 180 degrees east or west. Now, when I teach you the concepts of time, with some simple calculations, I'll show you that this line of 180 degrees east or west is a very fascinating line. It is a line across which there's a change of a day on the calendar. Means anyone who crosses this line, depending on which direction or through which direction it is crossed, there would be either a gain of a day or loss of a day. And this is why this line is called as international date line. It means there are two different days on the two sides of this line in the calendar. So either you lose a day or you gain a day, depending on how you have crossed. All this would be taught very comprehensively in my coming classes. But today you just understand that there is a line called international date line. Now imagine, what if this line passes through densely populated areas of the world, like Delhi? For example, let's say this line passes in front of our main building. Don't think we Indians will keep jumping across the line to change our commitments? Means I'll hold a test for Monday. The student will say, sir, my test was on Tuesday. I'll say, why? He or she will say, I stay on the other side of the line. It means life would become a hell if this line passes through the areas where you have more population. It means, logically speaking, this line should not be made to pass through the continents of the world. It should be made to pass through oceans of the world, because even if it has a problem for some people, you know, in ocean we don't have much population. And if it is a problem for a few communities, we can always make special adjustment. So I hope you understand that this line would become a hell if it is passing through densely populated areas. Now, if this is all understood, I make a statement. Let's see you understand it immediately or not. It's a very simple point. I say, the moment you decide 0 degree, the same very moment IDL gets decided. If you say this is my 0 degree, don't you think the opposite arc has to be 180 degrees? Is that yes or no? So what was the main reason for the selection of Greenwich meridian as a 0 degree meridian? The scholars of this conference found that when you take Greenwich meridian as 0 degree meridian, the opposite side of it, which was to become international date line, was seen to be passing through the mid of the Pacific Ocean. And since such line, if it passes through the ocean, it would be a more convenient choice. So it means, finally I conclude that 3 reasons went in favor of Greenwich meridian. 1, the Royal Observatory was already in use for a long time as a reference point, the dominance of the English Empire, and the third was the Greenwich meridian gave us a very good choice for international date line, a convenient choice because it was seen to be passing through the oceans. Okay. Now I'll make you write whatever I've said on these 2 points, and from those I'll start my next lecture. Now there's a student writing, sir, last part is not very clear. I'll be taking 1 full hour lecture on IDL. Okay. Today you just understand, if international date line is the one where you have a change of a day on the calendar on the 2 sides of it, I should not have this line passing through densely populated areas of the world. And you need to only understand today that Greenwich meridian gives us a convenient choice of international date line. More on this in the coming days. So write, first point, fundamental to geographic analysis is a development of a comprehensive and logical framework, to establish accurate location of any spot on the Earth's surface. Next point. Now, before you write, is it the network of lines we have on the globe, is it a real or imaginary system? Imaginary. So write, the imaginary grid system is anchored by the position of the poles is anchored by the position of the poles and equator which are determined by the Earth's slight variance, means variation, which are determined by the Earth's slight variance from a perfectly spherical shape, which are determined by the Earth's slight variance from a perfectly spherical shape. Variance from a perfectly spherical shape. Now, please tell me, is this second sentence, the last point, telling you that it is good that Earth is not perfectly spherical? You get that feel or not? That since our Earth is not spherical, it became handy for these scholars to choose equator as a reference line and the position of the poles for anchoring that system. Now, someone was asking me the reference books. See here, for my section of geography, atmospheric science and the oceanography, you need to use a book by G.C. Leong. There's a school certificate geography book, very popular by the name of the author. This would be good for your ecology also. Second half of this book is good for ecology, and the first half is good for physical geography. You just know the name of the author. And besides this, I need not say, you are using NCERTs, okay, 11th and 12th. There's a physical geography book, the fundamentals of physical geography, which would go with the G.C. Leong's book. So class notes plus this G.C. Leong's book and NCERTs. Now, other than this, you need an atlas, school atlas. Any atlas will do, because all are equally good or equally bad. No, Savindra Singh, I would not prefer. Are you an optional student of geography? But still, I'll say, even for optional, if you're reading Savindra Singh for your optional course, this G.C. Leong will help you in optional also, because it will establish the foundations for your subject, okay? So G.C. Leong is a better book for both GS as well as optional. So G.C. Leong and NCERTs, and you need a atlas. Any atlas will do, which if you have any school atlas with you, fine, but it should be latest edition. If you have to purchase, you can purchase one by Orient Black Swan, or you can go for Oxford School Atlas. Any of these two will be good. Okay, fine. All other queries in the next lecture. Which 2 points are left? Those points will be taught in the coming lecture. Okay, I have set the stage for that. Just 1 minute. First, let me take leave from those with whom I had heart-to-heart connection. Okay, I'll stop here, online students, and till we meet next, keep smiling and keep enjoying the process. Remember, those who enjoy the process, they will have great results. Thank you very much.